All right, good morning. Crump with Recruiters, and we have a very special guest today because it's one of our family members who we love so much out in Philadelphia, Chelsea Gumpf, soon to be Chelsea. Are you taking a new last name with the upcoming nuptials?
I haven't really thought about that yet, but his last name is Cawley, C-A-W-L-E-Y. Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. Gumpf isn't that great.
Sorry, Dad.
Sorry, Dad.
Sorry, Dad. That's so funny. So, and Chelsea is going to give some really interesting perspective today because your talent acquisition, which I'm going to say is HR-ish, and you can kind of go through what that means, but in the professional services world, but you actually recruit on college campuses, university campuses. So I want to walk through that, but you can do a much better job. So thank you so much for being with us this morning. You look just great. I mean, you look showered. You look well coiffed. I kind of just rolled out of bed and trying to make this thing happen.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I'm excited. I try to get up and get dressed. Otherwise, the redundancy is just a little bit too much.
I believe it. I absolutely believe it. So talk with us because you've been how long have you been working from home now? When did you guys start? Because you're in a place in Philadelphia where you're really close to that one community. Is it Montgomery County?
Yeah, so I actually border Montgomery County. So we're probably about a quarter of a mile from the county border. I'm technically in Philadelphia County, but Montgomery is very close.
Okay. So all of this is shutting down. You've been working from home for 4 or 5 weeks now?
I think this is the 5th week. My first day from home was Friday, March 13th. And that's what we were told, start working from home indefinitely. And that's when the mobilization started from a company nationwide perspective.
And
so, go ahead.
And you deal with people. I mean, that's what you do. You talk with people, you're meeting with people. So how fast did that shift have to happen for you in terms of like the technology side of it and just how you communicated?
Yeah, I was pretty set up for success from the beginning. I travel a lot. I'm on the road a lot. So working from places that are not my home office is very common. I also have a home office, but I cover the whole state. So there are plenty of places I can be. So for me, there was almost no impact other than being able to collaborate with my teammates less frequently in the office, which is definitely an adjustment, but with tools like Zoom or just picking up the phone and calling someone more, I think is helping through that. So I wouldn't say the day-to-day impact is that great. We do a lot of daily stand-up meetings, have a lot of calls. So keeping the human in all of this, remembering to be human, remembering to be empathetic to what everyone is going through is always important in my job, but I think even more so in this current situation.
So this is kind of shifting. What happens as talent acquisition? Have you had a lot of clients, and I don't put their acquisition on hold in terms of, okay, we don't need that right now, and also how you're working with universities, like how is all that affected?
Yeah, so I think a lot of companies are taking different approaches based on what works for them. If they are taking a hiring freeze, if they're just modifying their practices, I think that is still in process. I don't think we have a lot of answers. People are still going through what that looks like. From working with campuses, I will say they put the pause button on very early. So we have a lot of partnerships, and we were hearing from them, hey, you have this event coming up in 2 weeks. Can we move it virtual? Oh, you were supposed to come here and do a speaking engagement with our class. Can we make it a webinar? Pretty early on in March. I want to say March 1st, March 2nd was the last time I was on campus, and they were already talking about it. So there was not a lot of downtime, not a lot of shift. It's harder to make those relationships virtually because a lot of times when people are looking for jobs, especially if you are early in your career, you want to get a feel for the culture. You want to get a feel for the people you're going to be working with. And that can be difficult if you're not there to see things physically in person. So that leaves it to people like myself who are saying, okay, we can't bring you into the office to interview. Most interviews are happening virtually, but how can we still give you the same experience? Are there different types of video office tours we could provide? or can we have you talk with someone more senior on the team so you can get a feel of what your day-to-day would be like? So I think it just very much depends on the specific organization as well as the specific school, and being creative with overcoming any of those barriers.
If I'm a kid,
Mm-hmm.
which I guess we're all kids in some way,
We are.
all different ages, but if I'm on campus and I'm hoping to get a job, or anybody right now in the job market, how are you seeing, you know, the employees' response? We were having this conversation before we started recording about anxiety of, I'm not hearing back from employers. I put a resume in. What can potential candidates do to help themselves during this time? There's so much anxiety in the market.
I was actually in college in 2009, so I have been able to share that with people. I did not graduate in 2009 myself, but I was going through the internship process when people were cutting internships, and finding jobs was incredibly hard. So I have been able to talk with people of saying, I actually totally understand how you feel. I felt the same way. We were graduating and, you know, not knowing what would be available. Would it be in our field? Would it be any job? So being able to share that builds a level of trust and authenticity with the students, saying, hey, I hear you, I understand. My best advice is to be patient and to ask questions. There's no problem with reaching out to somebody on LinkedIn to say, hey, you know, I applied, just curious of what the status is. I also encourage people to go on different sites that have lists of companies that are still hiring. I've seen several lists out there. Go to those lists, check on their jobs, and see if there's anything that is available in an area that's interesting to you. I think there are so many online tools, and you cannot research too much in this current environment.
Are there a couple different websites? Sorry, of course. Is there different websites that we could link in the video or below that you would give us? I think people that are looking for jobs, I think, especially with the website for the gig economy not even being up yet. So you have all of the unemployed people looking for jobs, but even the ones that work even beforehand, it's like, I am researching, I am trying. So going to LinkedIn and asking questions, that's okay. Although it can't be like, hey, I applied to go.
Give me a job.
You're a good leader.
Yeah.
That's how I would be. I'd be like, why aren't you talking to me? Like, come on, you know, what are you doing?
Yeah. Well, I think people forget that initial outreach is part of the interview. So a way you could structure that conversation at any level is to say, I've been researching a lot and I've been reading the news, and I've seen that companies have done layoffs, or they've furloughed some employees, or they've gone on hiring freezes. I haven't seen, you know, what your company is doing. Would you be able to share? And that would be a way, if somebody reached out to me and said that, I would say, I would want to help them. I want to help everybody, but they've done their research. They're showing that they're curious and they're taking initiative. So those are three great qualities in any employee. So I think it's the way you ask the question, the way you shape your message is really important. One site I just saw yesterday is themuse.com, MUSE.com. They have a list of employers that are still hiring. So I would definitely encourage people to check that one out. I think there was like 30 companies, maybe more.
And are people worried too, like in terms of like benefit packages, salary packages, like how am I going to pay my student loans back if companies are cutting costs? Like, are you seeing those kind of questions?
Yeah, a lot of people are asking those questions, even friends. So the best advice I can give those individuals is also research. So employment laws vary by state. I'm certainly not an expert in unemployment practices and those sorts of benefits, but I would encourage people to don't think you're not eligible for those types of benefits. If your hours have been cut, if your salary has been cut, if your position has been eliminated, see what applies to you. If you're from the gig economy, see if there's anything out there. I would encourage everybody to see, you know, what benefits they can participate in if there's been a change in their employment.
Okay. That's great. I mean, that's such great advice. I'm going to do that. I'm going to see.
I'm going to ask my employer what they think. And, you know, I'm keeping a checklist of things. So
seriously. So let's talk about your personal life a little bit. you got engaged last year.
I did.
Awesome.
Last May, yeah.
And poor, you know, you're just calling everybody in the family. No one's picking up their phone. You're like, where's my family? Courtney answering.
Yep.
There they were already.
Almost a year ago.
I know. I can't even believe it. So it's very exciting. But you have a wedding planned this year in August. And what's, you know, I'm seeing a lot of people get married online right now. It's like find a priest and like nuptials right on Zoom, which is very cool. But how are you thinking about that? Because your wedding is actually planned on a campus.
So I think I am personally handling it really well. I'm trying to remove the attachment from the wedding, right? We're still getting married. The end result is not going to change. The day might change. The venue could change. There are things that could happen that are completely out of my control, out of everybody's control, and that has to be okay. There's nothing we can do. So if I remove this feeling of attachment of being like, this is my day, this is the perfect day, this is how it's going to be, and say it's going to be whatever it is, because that's the world that we live in right now, and it makes everything a lot easier. And if you can bring elements of fun, and you can have conversations that maybe you can postpone things to another date, having conversations about, okay, what's going to happen with my deposit? Go back through your contracts and just see what's possible makes it a lot easier. Also knowing that, you know, I'm not the only person who feels this way. I think we have like 9 weddings this year. So that's 9 friends. So it's 9 opportunities to, you know, talk to people you care about, see what they're doing, and just like build connection with them. And I think that's really important. And whatever is going to happen is going to happen. I actually went to a virtual wedding reception on Saturday. So my friend is able to push her wedding to later this year, but their DJ did a set and had everybody dancing like in front of their computers. I was right here dancing from like 8 until midnight. So I think you can make it fun, and it can be whatever it's going to be.
Did they get married beforehand or no?
No,
okay.
They didn't. They pushed it to later this year.
They're actually getting married then later too. How's it been working with the venues? Like, have they been very like communicative on that, keeping you up to date, or do you have to reach out?
So we have a wedding planner. So they've been incredibly communicative, and they reach out to people on our behalf. So I actually have a call later today. So I'm sure there will be some updates. The last time I spoke to them, they were like, hold on, let's not do anything yet. Let's just wait. And I think that's what you have to do. We have to just wait and see, and not work ourselves up about it, not make too many moves unnecessarily, because we just don't know. So right now we're just planning as it's going to be in August. And if at some point we realize it's not going to be in August, then we'll get into motion.
I told Quartz that your dress, which is beautiful, is seasonless. So you it can go into any season and can be worn anywhere in the world. So I think that's also really smart. It was a smart get on your part.
Although I would definitely wear the long sleeve dress in August if I had one. I would be like, this is the dress I picked. This is the dress I'm wearing. This is the colors that I picked. These are the colors that we're using. So enjoy.
So another thing about you, which I love, and I think is really funny. So you like pioneer woman. Let's just dive into the situation.
I love, oh my God, yeah. Big fan.
You're a huge fan.
We'll tag her.
Yeah, I know, we will actually. You know, all the special pots and stuff like that. But you cook, you bake. Am I correct about that, or is it just cooking? Are you doing
mostly cooking? And I don't like to follow recipes. I just like to make it up as I go.
We're very different on that. I'm like, I need the exact recipe, or else we're all not doing well.
We're generally opposite. I'm wearing white. She's wearing black.
Yes. Very, very true. The ginge. So what are you cooking? Do you have a favorite that you're cooking right now? Things that you're loving to do?
Yeah. So something we've been eating a lot of that I have not had in probably 4 years. I've probably eaten more of this one specific food more in the last 3 weeks than I have in the last 4 years with macaroni and cheese from the box.
Oh, really? Is it Kraft? Are you doing Kraft or Belvita?
Annie's. At least it's organic.
You're so good. Meanwhile, I think we had like pierogies the other night.
Yeah, pierogies.
Oh, that sounds good.
We did pierogies. We're not, trying to stay kind of healthy. And you do your, thanks, TC.
We also renovated two rooms. So we painted 2 bedrooms and a hallway. We've been meaning to do this for over a year, never had time, and certainly would not have had the time this year. So I think that's one silver lining.
And how are you keeping your mental game strong during this? I think this has been really taxing. I think there's not a lot of boundaries when it comes to work time, just available, that you're available all the time and kind of limiting that scope. How are you kind of structuring that?
We're fortunate enough to have a back patio. So getting out there as much as possible. I spent like 20 minutes last night on my Goodreads app, just picking all the books I want to read and slowing down a little bit, separating. I think I've realized throughout this process I'm a bit more of an introvert than I ever realized. So just taking it slow, being okay with where we are, and being really grateful that we're able to stay home. And I've been talking to a lot of my friends who work in the healthcare field and just like being proud of them and being kind of happy that they love what they do and they get to do that, but also trying to stay as safe as possible. So I kind of talk to other people about it. I'm like, it hits me in waves. So I would think those are some of the waves.
I think that's great. I mean, especially when you have friends. I have some friends that are in the healthcare, and my cousins are actually in kind of high risk areas doing their pharmacists. They were the ones that went off to pharmacy school for the 20 years. Pharmacy.
Oh wow, yeah, that's a long program.
Long haul.
And
I love it.
From my cousin a couple of days ago, and I just was like, wow, I can't even imagine, relying on a mask to protect me on a day-to-day with so many interactions with people that are sick. So yeah, the healthcare workers, I think we're just
so grateful.
In Philly, I saw a video today at one of the local hospitals during the shift change. So nurses and doctors and everyone was leaving as like new people were coming in, and a lot of first responders, police officers, firefighters were like in a line, like cheering for them. And I just thought that was really sweet. I'll send you guys a video. You can link it.
Yeah. So just one final thing. Is there anything you can tell us about Courtney that we don't know? Is there any weird story that you can share that I feel like everybody would want to know, especially me?
Yeah, I was just talking about this last night. Actually, that
was too
we used to say, and to some extent, I think this still is true, that she has sticky fingers. So like, not in like a bad way, like retail theft, but like if my parents had excess like paper towels at home or toilet paper or like food,
I did
take it.
I would.
I
did. I would definitely do that.
Or when you were going back to New York, or when were you stealing?
College, and I think when I first moved out into like my apartment, like I would never take money, but I would like go grocery shopping at their house and like take cans of food, toilet paper,
which I think is normal. But you would like go to get something and be like, oh well, Courtney's here, so it's probably gone.
I think I took toothpaste.
Oh really? So you bought more for you, knowing that you were going to boost it anyhow.
Yeah, I think she did.
Yeah,
I think they've secretly liked it though.
Yeah.
Probably not.
And then the one last thing I would say, it's funny. I don't know if you guys are familiar with like DISC profiles, communication styles. So whatever. I'm a high ID, which means I want to brainstorm everything, but if there's a problem or something I'm stressed about, I'm going to like hit it at you head on. And the other day I woke up and was Skyping a coworker, and I was like, here's a problem and here's 75 options of how we can solve this. And she responded and just said, Chelsea, take a breath. And I was like, oh my God, that's like such a good message for everyone right now. Like, just take a breath. And if you are one of those people who have found yourself in a situation where your employment status is different than it was a month ago, I think it provides you with an opportunity to just take a breath. And your first move might be to wake up the next morning and start applying to jobs, right away. And you certainly can do that, but there are other things you can do to help yourself or prepare yourself or enhance your skills during this time. You can start reconnecting with people in your network you've lost touch with. People always want to help. You can learn a new skill. LinkedIn Learning has awesome educational platform tools. And I've seen other platforms offering steep discounts for different types of certifications. Definitely take advantage of that. Rebrand yourself, so to speak. Talk to people like you guys, like, hey, I want to shift careers, and here's what my background is, and here's where I'm trying to go. Here's what I've been doing. Help me market myself so that when this does change and things improve, I'm ready to hit the ground running. So I think that would be my kind of best advice, is take a breath. It's reset, and it's going to move forward eventually.
Well, we appreciate you, and I'm glad that you're healthy and you look great. And I'm expecting some meal to come to my door, if you're cooking. So just, I think that'd be great.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Well, thank you guys.
Thanks, Chesterfield.
Have a good night.
Have a good one.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.